You've probably seen this before and not even realized it. Little white dots stuck to the wall of your house, each one balanced on the tip of a thread so fine it's almost invisible, like someone decorated your fence with a miniature spider web.
Plate 16
And the first
illustrates the
instinct
larva
almost
of
everyone
Chrysopa,
has
the lacewing,
is the same.
utilizing camouflage
Grab a wet
composed of
cloth,
insect
a
husks and debris for
sponge,
protection.
or just turn the hose on it and wash the whole lot away. It looks gross. It looks like a pest problem. It looks like the
Observations
start
on the
of an
ovum of the green
infestation.
lacewing. A quiet
You've
testament
probably
to
been
nature's
told your whole
intricate
life,
design,
without
swaying
anyone ever
softly in
needing
the
to say it
golden light.
outright, that anything egg-like stuck to your wall is cause for alarm. Fungus, insects, parasites. Get rid of it before it spreads. That's the logic pretty much all of us carry around. But what you're about to find out is going to completely change the way you look at that wall, at your backyard, and especially at those little white dots you might have hosed off without a second thought. Because what looks like a threat is actually a nursery, and what hatches out of it in a few days isn't a pest at all. It's a predator. One of the most efficient, most underrated exterminators in your whole garden ecosystem. And if you've already hosed one of these off, without knowing it, you might have just wiped out your best ally against the actual pests wrecking your veggie patch. Here's the first reality check. Those little dots weren't laid randomly. Each one sits on top of a strand of silk, spun by the mother at the exact moment she lays it. This isn't decoration. It's survival engineering. The female who laid those eggs belongs to a group of insects known as lacewings, sometimes called aphid lions, because of what comes next. And the reason she raises each egg up on its own silk stalk isn't for looks. It's a calculated strategy to stop cannibalism before it starts. Yes, you heard that right. The larvae of this species hatch so ravenous, so hardwired to devour anything moving nearby, that the mother has to protect one egg from the next. If she piled them all up together, the first larva to hatch would eat its siblings before they'd even broken out of the shell. That silk thread is, quite literally, a biological containment system built by pure instinct to stop the hunger of the first generation from wiping out the second before it's even born. And this is exactly why hosing it off solves the wrong problem entirely. Water doesn't get rid of a pest. It snaps the silk stalk, drops the eggs to the ground, exposes embryos that still need days of protected development, and destroys the one mechanism stopping those future larvae from turning on each other before they've had a chance to grow. You're not cleaning your wall. You're shutting down a biological pest control unit before it's even gone into operation. Because what hatches from that egg isn't going to attack your house. It's going to protect your garden from everything that actually threatens your plants. To understand what's really at stake here, you need to meet the creature that emerges from that suspended egg. It's got none of the delicate charm of the adult, with its transparent, pale green wings and shimmering golden eyes. The larva that hatches is a hunting machine disguised as garden rubbish, literally. Many lacewing species have developed what scientists call trash-carrying behavior. The larva uses its own sickle-shaped jaws to pile the shells of insects it's already eaten, bits of lichen, soil, and plant debris onto its own back. It builds itself out of recycled material from its own battlefield, a kind of armor that makes it practically invisible to predators, and more importantly, invisible to the prey it's about to ambush. And its prey is the real nightmare of your garden: aphids, scale insects, mites, caterpillar eggs, and even the small larvae of other pests that chew through leaves, flowers, and fruit. A single lacewing larva can polish off hundreds of aphids over the few weeks it spends in this stage of life. Entomologists actually nicknamed it the aphid lion, a name that sounds like overkill until you watch it work up close. Picture a colony of aphids clinging to the tender stem of a rosebush, sucking out the sap, weakening the plant, multiplying at an exponential rate because they've got almost no visible natural enemy anywhere nearby. And then, disguised among the very rubbish it's carrying, the larva creeps forward, barely noticeable, until its hooked jaws pierce the aphid's body and inject digestive enzymes that dissolve the prey's insides, letting it suck up the liquefied contents in seconds. A precise, silent attack, repeated dozens of times a day. It's not hunting for fun. Relative to its own size, it needs to pack away an absurd amount of biomass to complete its metamorphosis and become the delicate, winged adult you might have already spotted resting near a porch light at night. That's exactly why farmers and agronomists around the world buy bags of lacewing eggs by the thousand to release across entire crops. What you were about to hose off your wall is sold on a commercial scale as one of the most effective biological pest control tools going, replacing chemical pesticides across cotton fields, vegetable crops, and whole orchards. Now picture the opposite scenario. Imagine you, not knowing any of this, decide to wipe out those eggs, whether with water, a cloth, or a can of bug spray from the shed. Here's what happens to your garden in the weeks that follow. Without natural predators to keep the population in check, aphids and scale insects multiply at an alarming rate. A single female aphid can produce dozens of offspring a week, often without even needing to mate. Within days, what was a small discrete colony on one branch turns into a full-blown infestation, covering new growth, sucking the sap out of your plants until they turn yellow, stunted, and far more vulnerable to sooty mold that grows on the sugary residue the aphids leave behind. That imbalance doesn't stay contained. It ripples outward. With more pests around, ants tend to show up in bigger numbers too, because many ant species actually farm aphid colonies like livestock, protecting them from other predators in exchange for that sugary secretion. Which means wiping out the lacewing eggs doesn't fix anything. It kicks off a chain reaction that ends with more ants, more mold, more pests, and a plant that's worse off than before. Without that quiet bodyguard working for free on your wall, you end up reaching for far harsher solutions, often chemical ones, to deal with a problem nature had already sorted out on its own. Well before you even knew, there was a solution sitting right there. So next time you spot those little white dots hanging from impossibly thin threads on your wall, your window frame, or the underside of a leaf, stop for a second before you do anything. What looked like grime, or a pest, or a threat is actually a nursery, carefully engineered by evolution to produce one of the most efficient exterminators in the insect world. A mother who lifts each egg up into the air to protect the next generation from the hunger of the last. A larva disguised as rubbish that hunts like a surgical strike team. An adult with transparent wings that looks far too fragile to matter, but single-handedly helps hold an entire garden's balance together. Nature rarely puts something in your path without a reason. And sometimes, the thing we're most afraid to touch is exactly the thing quietly working to protect us. If this mystery has changed the way you'll look at the next wall covered in little white dots, smash that like button. It genuinely helps the channel keep bringing you these hidden stories from the natural world. And if you want to uncover the next biological secret, hiding in your own backyard, hit subscribe. Because the real mystery was never far away. It was on your wall the whole time.